Niet op een kwem. Le gomme je ma kana kro nya igama. Nye me shu. Ogbon be una vai khonu la gama. Yo no gbon. Ko me dibe ma yo. Yo ko no wonu pi o ko wonu no va. Yo ko nya jila. Ogbon be yo jojoga. Ime be a kenya ma yiga. Yo ogbon be ma no yin na yo yide.
And that's how a lifetime of bondage begins. It's called Trokosi, an ancient tradition peculiar to the Ewe tribe of West Africa that to this day enslaves thousands of women here in the remote Volta region of Ghana. They are condemned to a life of enforced labor and sexual servitude, not because they did anything wrong, but because someone in the family, a male relative, committed a crime, sometimes generations ago. And to pay for the crime and appease the gods, the family must send a young virgin to the traditional shrine where she'll serve the fetish priest for the rest of her life. This is Felicia Apeku.
How old were you when you were sent to the shrine? What was it like at the shrine? What was life like? Am I correct in saying that this is slavery?
She said yes. Why should any human being be made to pay or atone for a sin she did not commit?
Lawyer and women's rights activist Angela Jamnabwaji is one of many Ghanaians who want to see the system abolished.
We have evolved our democratic systems now. We know how we think as civilized people, and we don't think it's fair for anybody to pay for something she or he did not do. It's cruel.
In the face of growing public criticism, priests are reluctant to allow members of the public, let alone film crews, into their shrines. But we struck it lucky here in Afife, about 150 kilometers east of Accra. The shrine priest Maku agreed to see us. But he wasn't, well, exactly friendly. To allow us to film the shrine and give us an interview, he was demanding huge amounts of money. But we finally settled on $100, 6 bottles of schnapps, and 6 bottles of local gin. But money aside, there was another condition we had to meet. We had to exchange our Western clothes for more traditional attire, producer included.
Our rates have just gone up.
Not even our cameraman was let off the hook. And finally, surrounded by all his women, Maku would talk to us.
No, in the city we hear a lot of things about Trokosi, good things, bad things. What exactly is this thing called Trokosi?
It's about social control, he says. Take, for example, a man who's robbed of his possessions.
That's what I don't understand. I mean, I agree that a thief be made to suffer, but why a little girl?
And that's the story behind each and every one of these faces. When a man commits a crime and doesn't confess to it, the gods unleash misfortune on the family and people begin to die mysteriously. The only way to appease or pacify the gods and stop it happening is to hand over a virgin child to the local shrine.
And they accept this? The fact that they're atoning for someone else's sins?
The word Trokosi means wife of the gods, and it has ancient and noble roots. But in modern times, life for these women is hardly divine. The girl arrives at the shrine, often as young as 6 years old, where she becomes a servant until she reaches puberty. Then the priest or one of his relatives can take her as his slave for work and sex. By day, they labor here in the compound or out in the priest's fields. By night, they prepare themselves for sexual demands. Typically, a priest will father countless children who become possessions of the shrine. It's a life of total servitude, isolated from family and community. Most of these women are illiterate, have no employable skills, and will never have a husband or children she can call her own. We tried to speak to some of the women, but understandably, they weren't very forthcoming. This little one didn't have to say a word.
Do you know why you're here?
I don't know.
How old are you?
Oh, 11 years.
Do you miss your parents?
Yes, I miss them.
Do you know when you'll be seeing them next?
I don't know.
Okay.
This young woman followed us out, saying she wanted to speak to us. Her name is Doglaku, and she was given to the shrine because her father had an illicit affair with the Trokosi.
How long have you been here? You say you're not happy and you want to leave. Why? So, are you afraid of the priest?
Yes, I fear him.
Some see the Trokosi system as nothing more than modern-day slavery and an abuse of human rights. But there are those who say they've got it all wrong.
The Trokosi system is simply about the protection of the knowledge foundation of our people.
Trokosi advocate, Dr. E.D. Kumoji. According to animist belief, he says, the knowledge of the gods to this day is carried by ancient souls who are reborn generation after generation to lead their people. And the Trokosi system was established to create the women worthy of bearing these superior souls, women of absolute purity, who would be educated in the secrets of mythology, philosophy, ethics, and culture. And demanding young virgins from the families of wrongdoers guarantees a continuous supply of women to perform this vital function. I appreciate the concept, but let's separate the theory from the practice. I mean, the point I'm making is that the current practice is the closest thing to slavery.
No, I wouldn't say it is a slavery.
Why not? A child taken against her will, confined to a shrine, bearing the children of a fetish priest. You don't see anything wrong with that?
No. This thing is misunderstood. These women, we don't treat them as servants. We treat them as queens.
Tell me something. Would you give your daughter to a shrine owner for life?
Yes, I have to. Because if it is a law we have broken, she must go.
But Kumoji does admit that many fetish priests have lost touch with the ancient teachings. Eroded by European influence, the whole system, he says, has been degraded and needs reforming. But that doesn't mean it should be abolished.
When can we, the Africans, do something and call it ours? If we are going to be abolishing everything we have, finally we will have nothing that we can call our own. The whole of our education system is based on European foundations. And so we are not moving forward. We have to pick up those things that we have thrown away and begin to see the logic of our ancestors.
An argument that doesn't cut ice with Angela Boaji.
As long as you want to justify a practice, you can find all the nice arguments for continuing with a practice which should be done away with. You know, mother thing, woman thing, purity thing. But what is wrong is wrong.
And it's time to move on, she says.
Even the shrine priests, some of them, have come to realize that, you know, times are changing and we must change. And if they are now realizing that they can accept cattle, you know, in place of the girls, then what's the whole point?
And it is beginning to happen. At a groundbreaking ceremony 18 months ago, 35 women were released from the Dada Shrine in Adan in exchange for 5 cows, a bull, and $1,000. The man responsible for making it happen is the Reverend Volta.
I went to a couple of shrines, saw the women, and I felt so sad for them because these young women could well be my sisters, and some could be my children, and some could be my mothers, and I really felt like something ought to be done about it.
It's taken him 7 years of campaigning and hard negotiating with chiefs, village elders, communities, and priests to create the chink in the armor. But it's paying off. To date, he's negotiated the release of over 600 Trokosi women. It's a major breakthrough. But release is only the first step back into normal society. Remember, these women are totally illiterate, have been brutalized for many years, and many of them have no family to go back to. And this is where the halfway house comes in. It's a center set up by the Reverend Pimple, where newly released women will spend their first 2 years of freedom learning to rebuild their shattered lives. On a practical level, they're taught to read and write and given income-generating skills. But it's the emotional healing that takes more time, says the school's warden, Agnes Okujeto.
They know only in the shrine. Yeah. So that's their problem. They behave so timidly, you see, most of the time. And you see, when you ask them things, they cannot express themselves. They feel, well, even they are afraid to say it. They feel when they say it, they will die or something will happen to them. So they are deeply in darkness.
Legislation to abolish the system was finally put before Parliament last year, and if not passed soon, could be a major source of embarrassment to the government. Because as Angela Boaji says, in terms of international law, the Trokosi system is indefensible.
Trokosi is the kind of system which infringes on every known fundamental human right you can think about. Right to personal liberty, right to education, right to health, and then you have to deal with rape and defilement and physical abuse and forced labor, and I mean, I can go on and on.
And for the estimated 4,000 women and children still in bondage behind shrine walls, may the government act soon.